What is up, everyone? Welcome to another October daily video where I'm doing 31 days of Halloween drawings. Today I'm going to be drawing a scary living tree. Now, if you weren't scared to go into the forest all by yourself with monsters, critters, and everything chasing you, you might after this video. Alright, let's get started on our spooky tree here. Grab my Apple Pencil. I'm using the Gen 1 Apple Pencil with the Gen 2 iPad Pro. And get started here. And like I've done in all of my videos, I have made the sketch beforehand to try to speed the process up just a little bit. I want these videos to be as live as possible, so I didn't want these videos to go on for, an hour to any longer or anything like that. So I did the sketch process beforehand. I actually did them on paper first, brought them into here, did a quick little remake version of the sketch with the pencil brush in here. The brushes I am using, including the pencil brush and everything, are brushes that I have made myself. They are available on Gumroad for $2. But if you join my Patreon, you can get them essentially for $1 by signing up. So if you want to check that out and it sounds fun to you, I will leave a link for that in the description below. Sorry if I'm sniffly or if I end up coughing. I got a pretty nasty cold right now. I have a cough drop in my mouth right now at the moment, so if it sounds like I have a slight lisp compared to some of the other stuff that you've seen of me, that is why. Basically, this is my idea of doing like an Inktober kind of thing. I've always wanted to do Inktober, but the prompts normally that go along with Inktober always kind of bore me, so I just wanted to do something like this where I'm drawing all these fun characters and doing all Halloween based things, because normally Inktober is not purely Halloween focused, so that was the focus I wanted to have doing this. Getting along nice and quick. Hopefully this one can be one of the faster ones. Like I said, I'm not feeling the greatest, but I do want to make all these videos, and I made a promise to myself, and if you're watching any of the other videos, essentially I made a promise to everyone else that I would have 31 videos this month, so I am doing my best to make sure that is something that happens. If you didn't already know from the title or anything like that, or just the fact that I'm drawing on my iPad, I am using Procreate to make this drawing. Procreate is pretty much my go-to for doing all of my personal sketches, professional sketches, drawings, anything like that for if it's a digital art piece. I really enjoy using the iPad and Procreate. I used to use mainly Photoshop and my Wacom tablet to do all my digital art, but I've come to enjoy doing all my stuff now on my iPad, unless it has to do with like photo bashing or things like that, where Photoshop is a little more powerful for something like that. So that's the only time I really am using Photoshop these days. Kind of sucks to pay a subscription for something I use quite a bit less than I used to. Photoshop is definitely not cheap, so that part kind of sucks, but whatever. I use other Adobe products. Most of my editing I do with Premiere, so I guess it's not a full loss, the fact that I use the Adobe subscription. It definitely is used daily, just not the Photoshop side of it anymore. Alright, so this one should be pretty simple as far as adding colors go, because it is basically just a tree. So I'm going to make a new layer. We're going to go back up to the line layer that we made. Make sure we're on reference, so that way when we drop the colors in, it references the line layer so it doesn't leave the border of that. So we're going to go with... So you can slide it back and forth to increase how strong the color drop is. I tend to try to go as far as I possibly can. Make sure it gets as close to the line and everything as it possibly can. Alright, so I'll do this, and I'm going to continue with recolor. Drag it to where the next one's going to be, and then you can start tapping. And you can adjust how strong the fill is down here as well, just like you can with your pen across the screen when you're doing the color drop. Base color is done. This is moving along across. This is moving along very quickly. Alright, we're gonna make a new layer. And oh god, I'm sorry guys. I cannot help but choke and cough a little bit right now. My throat is very irritated, but I do want to finish these drawings. Click on that layer. Gonna go to clipping mask, so it clips to the base color there. Let's go to black. And filler brush. And we're gonna do essentially this whole back half shadow. And I can do this big blocking of shadow, and then I can go in and refine everything after. This kind of saves some time. So go back up here, tap this little N, and bring down the opacity. Alright. Hopefully he's showing up on screen well. He's pretty dark, so. Alright, go to our fine liner. And we're going to refine a bunch of this. And this part is all about just getting it how you want it to look now. I got all the shadow in the areas I want them to be in shadow. So I can also go like this with my selection tool. Make sure I'm on freehand. Go around. And 3 fingers. Scrub. Gets rid of all of that. Do the same thing for the mouth here. Now, we gotta do something that's very important when it comes to doing shadows, and that is adding a rim light. So we're gonna go in these areas that are really heavily shadowed and just erase some of the edge. This will help break up the shadows quite a bit, give it a little sense of depth, like there's some light coming in from behind. And kind of just giving it a little bit of a glow. It's a nice way to essentially add color to areas without, or adding highlights to an area without actually having to draw in a highlight. Alright, something else you can do to add a little bit of like highlights in these areas without actually doing highlights is you can add these little specular highlights just by erasing, just like you did with everything else. Ooh, I just whistled saying else. I think it's because I have that cough drop in my mouth. So you can go around and add a couple of those to add just some extra life to the drawing. Alright, time for highlights now. We're going to go in here, make another layer. Woo! Getting stuffy. Alright. Another layer. Clipping mask. White. Oh, actually, let me fix... I don't like the look of this. There we go. Alright, so we got white. Oh, I'm still on the same layer. There we go. So we're just going to add... I'm just going to add a couple edge light spots and a couple little highlights, but I don't need this to be super highlighted. I think it looks pretty good without even highlights in general in this piece, but I do want some in there. Kind of give a good sense of light. There we go. I think that's all I really need for highlights. I think this piece benefits from not having too much highlights. So bring that opacity down. What we need to do, we're gonna go back to black. Let's get the standard liner. I'm gonna bring that size down quite a bit. A little bit more. And the reason I'm doing this on a separate layer is I can make all these angled lines and not have to think about it because I can just go in with my eraser after. So basically what I can do now, go on my eraser and just get rid of any of those lines that went over. When I'm done with this, I'm gonna go around and see if there's any spots that I need to maybe add, like wood grain texture kind of thing to the tree. I'm using the one that doesn't have the streamline effect on it, so it just kind of works good for something like the wood because it's not trying to smooth out your line, it's trying to make it exactly how you're drawing it. So I'm going to leave these lines on their own layer because if I decide I don't want the bark lines, I can just easily get rid of them. Alright, there's only two things left I want to do, so we're going to go up here. We're going to make this really bright spot here. Go to airbrush, bring that way down. Oops, did I make a new layer? This is going to go above, though. And then we're going to go to Gaussian Blur. And let's bring that opacity down a bit. That works. Little yellow dots. I'll give those a slight little blur as well. And last but not least, we're just gonna add shadow using the airbrush. Oops. Go to Gaussian blur. Blur that out just a bit. All right, there it is, the finished creepy living tree. Now remember, this is only one of 31 videos this October. So if you're not, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of the other videos this month. Go back and watch the ones you haven't watched. But remember, like always, keep drawing, and until next time, bye.